Okay, sorry everyone to my signal errors. Okay, Teruvan Sarnai. What we are discussing here are not applicable to my mundane life. Conventional threats and constant. And philosophy is being conventional, very thing we
Thiruvan Sarnai Mehin Mahansa, we can't hear you properly.
on the spiritual path. A few bishops. We are trapped with six senses. Sensations getting through the six senses are real. When the truth is realized, we recognize all else. We are cycle of birth and death, samsara.
Thiruvan Sarnai Mehin Mahansa, I think you have a signal problem. Can't hear. Thiruvan Sarnai Mehin Mahansa.
Sorry, my signal problem today. When you have tasty food, when you have good clothes, etc. This is the mundane way life. After some time, clothes deteriorate and we look for new clothes. Again, after some time, they get spoiled and old. Spoiled and old. Again, we look for new ones. It is manner. We are running after better and better ones. Even for the food, we are running after new dishes and new varieties. Of, of course. In the ignorant way of life, we are never satisfied for long to look of the next. There is nothing in this world to be called satisfactory for long. This is suffering. What we think pleasure in this world, in fact, on pain only. There is no lasting pleasure in upbeat suffering. Who asks whether you can see Nibbana at this moment? breakthrough is that Nibbana is seen at this moment. At this moment, you have a thought, thoughts appear and disappear. There is no lasting thought, all are transist. It is only this thought that give of suffering. What we call the mind, in fact, of collection of thoughts only. Use mind and thought, interact suffering in only the mind. Therefore, seeing and truth in simple words, understanding the full function in the world. The mind manifested world is created by your mind. That is why Lord Buddha said the six senses themselves are the world. Salatana loko loko, chittena niyati loko. Beauty and the ugliness that you see are not outer objects, but in your mind. Moment to moment, thoughts appear and disappear. The birth of thought and death of thought happens in the moment. The one who sees the birth and death of a thought seen Udevaya will not find conventional death. This death becomes fails. Birth and death happens at this moment. Before you outgoing breath happening, you need to contemplate Marananusati. Contemplating Marananusati means seeing the death or thought at the moment. Lord Buddha said if one contemplates death before the in-breath goes out, that is the truth. Seeing that in the moment, this Shanasampati, which is the recognize the reality of the moment. It is very rare for one to see it in the moment. It is very rare to listen to them. It is very rare to get a human birth. It is very rare to do the ritual routine place. Okay. Dear friends, we are always our practicing day-to-day life always need to uh, solution for our problems. Then our Buddha spiritual guidance teacher did it always give to us real path and correct answers. So we have wait a moment. Our Buddha the teacher doesn't everyone sarai. Everyone saranai.
Sir, may I pay homage at your feet? Tervan Sarnai, everyone. Welcome to the Buddhottado Zoom sessions. Today, we will talk about self or the concept of me and how it is created. If I ask the question whether you like to lose your so-called soul or individual self or me, many will say no. We don't like to lose ourselves. Why? Because we love ourselves. Here, what we meant by soul or the individual self is the sense of individuality or I-ness, or the sense of separate entity that we believe as me, or the feeling of existence, or the Atma Sanya. In reality, there is no such soul or individual self. It is just a belief, a concept, an imagination. So what happens here is you are afraid of losing an imaginary, non-existent me. How can you lose an imaginary thing? How can you lose a thing that does not exist? It is like a frog in a well who is afraid of coming out of the well, isn't it? It is scared of all imaginary, fearful things outside. Another example, it is like a baby chicken. He is scared of breaking the eggshell to come out of the shell. All are imaginations. So we will find out how this imaginary self is formed. How do we get this alive feeling? To identify how the self is made, one should know the dependent origination Dhamma or Paticca Dhamma, which Lord Buddha has revealed to the world. Paticca means the process of coming together of all senses. It also is dependent on cause and conditions. If you take a book, for example, the concept of a book is formed due to a color and sound. Actually, color and sound are also vibrations. When you were small, you were shown a shape and you were taught a sound by which to call this shape. The shape and sound together makes a chittarupa or a mental image, which is called a book. It is actually a thought. A thought, as you know by now, is a illusion or a mirage. But when we see the shape, we match the sound, so we call it a book. As our spiritual guidance teacher, Buddhotpada Arana pointed out, it is a telepathy system that works. Even sounds and colors are vibrations. All are at sensor levels. It does not come from outside. You have to remember that it does not come from outside. It's a creation of our senses. So when the six senses come together, it makes the illusion of a book. It happens naturally. It is a natural phenomenon. The six senses generate power due to sparking speed, which ultimately creates a thought. Example, chair, house, book, everything. It's like a machine. Body needs power. The thought gives you the alive feeling or the soul. It's a process. It happens naturally. For example, if you see a picture again and again, you will see it in a dream too. Now, how does this happen? Repeated vibrations or the spark in speed has built up power or energy. That's why you see it as a dream. There is no one doing it, no doer. It's a natural phenomenon. It happens due to your attachment or the disattachment to the given thought, which is an illusion, a mirage. So, how do we get this alive feeling? It's actually due to the mind power produced by the vibrations of six senses. It's like a current. It's the live feeling or the soul or the Atma Bhave. We think there is a soul. So the six senses are creating the current, the waves or the spark or the vibrations. This happens so fast. For example, if you draw a picture of a child running in a book and turn the pages very fast, you could see a running child, but it's an illusion. Likewise, we get the feeling of fear, and either we get attached or disattached to that mind creation. This happens due to our ignorance because as a Buddhist, we don't know how we don't know about Paticca Samuppada Dhamma or how the mind is created. And we take the outside world as true. So if someone see this as a natural phenomena, that there's no doer, nothing exists, and it's the creation of our senses, and it's happening automatically, no one is doing this, He is out of ignorance. He has wisdom and be peaceful and calm inside. He is always burning with inside fire. You must have seen people like that around. They are always angry of something or other, always find fault with someone. They are restless, always want to do something, find fault with others. They don't like to be, they don't like to share things with others. They don't talk kind words. Their actions, words, and thoughts shows that they are burning inside. So this is why war is happening in the world. Maybe due to one thought of someone. So many innocent people suffer. They have a big ego. Their mind is not calm and peaceful. If they stop for a moment and think, this is my mind, why should I do this? Nobody is doing this. This is only my thoughts. Then the whole world will be peaceful. So if someone knows this Dhamma, doesn't matter about the religion, but if someone knows how the thought is made and we suffer due to a thought, the lives will be more peaceful, isn't it? If you go back to the radiant mind of the baby, it is so pure. Though the five senses are working, the mind sensor is still not created. The mind power is still not generated. The mind power is just like magnetic power, electric power, and so on. It gives us the live feeling. So more the stimulus to the senses, more the mind power. Sometimes people kill each other due to this power. In Tripitaka, every sutra explains about these sensor creations, how we suffer due to this, and how to get out of this suffering. Actually, there has never been such a self or separate individual in you, but you are afraid of losing an existing imaginary self. Imaginary me. Here we use the term self, soul, individual self, I-ness, ego, or Atmi Bhave to express the same meaning. Where is this individual self? Where does it exist? Question this yourself. How does it come into seeming existence? If you inquire deeply, you will find that it is an imagination, an unchecked belief, a thought only. Recognition of the fact that there is no such individual self or Atmiya Bhavya is knowing the nature, that is to say, knowing Dhamma. It is the complete understanding of Dhamma. This is knowing the truth. This is not merely an intellectual understanding. This will be a life changing recognition. Lord Buddha asked the monks, is this I permanent? Is this I a soul? The I is the activity of seeing. Take a common example of a book. You say, what I say is a book. Analyze this. Book is a word. It is in fact a sound. Is there a book in the sound? Or is there a sound in the book? Where is the sound? Where is the book? How did the book come into seeming existence? So Buddha explained, no, the I is not permanent. This needs to be understood in the correct sense. With the activity of seeing, the I is created at the moment by your own mind. This needs to be recognized. Once you recognize, then only you can say, no, I is impermanent and I is not a soul. You know for certain that there is no such thing called a book. It is a fabrication and imagination. You never find a thing called a book. That is why Lord Buddha said, no, anicca bhante is impermanent. If there is a thing called a book, it implies there will be somebody to see it. A book cannot exist without somebody seeing it. A subject object relationship is established. Is it the truth? We should investigate so called somebody and the book. Is there an independently existing book? Is there an individual self? The sense of individual self is called the bhave. If you recognize that there is no thing, then you become a Buddhist. Is there an individual self? Let us investigate. By seeing through your eye, you say a book, but book is merely a sound, and in that sound there is no thing. Word or sound is empty of anything. I received only a color. Here, color implies both from the form and the color. That color does not contain a book. You will not find anything in a color. That is not magic. It is your own experience. You have to trust your own recognition. When you see the book, you have a sense of I seeing the book. Is it not? Then how can the self of individual entity, me, come into existence? Inquire yourself and check it out. Is the sound a self? Is the color a self? If you do not find a thing called a book, how can there be an individual self to see such? Non-existent book, non-existent self, not non-existent world. Where is the world? Does it exist outside of you? The color came to the eye. Is it world? The sound came to the ear. Is it the world? Inquire this. Why can't we turn inward and see this rather than follow habitual patterns? Whatever you perceive, are those real or just mental contracts? Understanding the functioning of the six senses is called seeing the world created by the six senses. Salayatana. So, Salayatana is the six senses: eye, ear, tongue, nose, skin, and mind. Mind is created as a result of five sensory sparks. It is said that cease of the six senses is Nibbana. Now, you know that the mind is formed due to the speed of the sparks through the eye, ear, tongue, nose, and the body. The result is the sense of existing things like books, tables, beds, and so on. These are the mental creations, which is called mano sanya. In reality, there are no such existing things as books, tables, beds, and other things. The mental projection creates illusory objects outside. If you see the truth, you will recognize that reality is there are no existing things. They simply appear when appropriate conditions are present, just like a rainbow. Once you see through this illusion, why do you worry about the world? Are there things to lose? What is there to lose? What for you are crying? For what reason can there be any sorrow? Are you sorrowful due to a sound? Are you sorrowful due to colors that you see? Are you sorrowful due to manosanya? Is there suffering in the sound? Is there suffering in the color? Where is sorrow? Where is suffering? You cannot find suffering anywhere. Can you? It is the mental creation that you created by binding color and sounds together. For example, book, suffering, the mental creation are called Vijnana Maya, in other words, an illusion. You cannot find these mental creations anywhere. You cannot locate those. They simply appear and disappear. In reality, they do not exist. If you believe the illusion, you are bound to suffer. You are in the samsara. Think of the image you see in the mirror. You see a sound. You call this image as me. Is anybody there in the image in the mirror? So, is it the color coming to the eye? Is it the sound me? Then how does this me come to existence? Isn't it your imagination? Does it really exist? Who am I? Where am I? What am I? Really, where does this I exist? Have you ever questioned this way? We usually ask people, where are you? So we may say, I am doing this, I am doing that. So it implies I exist always. What is this I you refer to? Where did this I come from? From the eye, from the ear, from the nose, from the tongue? Is there any other sense organ that I exist? No, it is simply an imagination, a fabrication, a thought, similar to the way you created a book, table, bed, and so on. The I, the sense of individual self, is the concept. It is your own imagination. Through social conditioning, you kept on using the word I without even checking what it refers to. This is a wrong identification or sakkaya ditthi due to a lack of inquiry, due to ignorance. If you see a book, that means I also exist. Similarly, to the way the book is created, I also created. When you start learning the words, when you see a book, at that instant, there is I also to see the book. If there are existing things, then an individual self called me also exists. If no things, then no me. You should clearly understand here no things means there are no things as you habitually perceive them to be. Seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, and touching. That happens. But you know the reality that things are merely mental constructs through binding colors and sounds. Nothing more. They simply appear and disappear. With this, you will recognize the falsehood of individuality of me. False cannot stand with the truth. So me dies. Understanding this illusion means understanding the truth. So can you see that we all are deluded? Deluded. All are trapped in an illusion. Here it is raining, there somewhere is snowing, somewhere is dry period, another place typhoon. What are these all about? Is it not all these are illusions of the mind? In other words, Maya or Vinyana Maya. What Vinyana Maya gives is like an icing cake. Because of this icing cake, you must not lose your human nature. As a human being, if you can see reality as it is, what is the real nature of a human being? Is it not attempting to see the reality, the truth? If you do not see the truth even for a moment, it will be like you have not seen the reality of that icing cake. You may have seen large wedding cakes made of many layers, but only a small part of the cake is cut and eaten. Most of the parts are made of foam and decorations and are not edible. Our story is also like an icing cake. What we dress, what we think, what we see, what we hear, and whom we associate with all are illusions, a Maya only. Our mind knows whether we are happy or sorrowful. Mostly, we become sorrowful because of the fear of losing imaginary things. Is there any other great joke than that? This is the funniest story in the world, creating non existent imaginary things and weeping for those. Animals cannot understand this, but humans have the capacity to understand. It is irrelevant who you are, what you are, and your social status. What is important is whether you know the truth or not. Once you know the truth, you start living with the truth. You become free. This is the profundity of knowing the truth. Once the truth is seen, you will not again be caught up with Maya. You do not daydream. You do not fall again and again. You do not grieve or cry when leaving the world. You will see death every moment. You will never worry about death. That is also seen as blissful. If we do not lose things in the world, how can there be new things? Think for a moment. If this plant and tree does not fall down, how can there be an opportunity for new plant and tree? Why don't we respect nature? If this mother plant and tree does not fall down, there is no room for a baby plant to grow. How can new people be born on earth if people do not leave the world? This is nature. There exists only nature. Similar to the plant and tree falling down to let the baby plant and tree grow, elderly people will have to live to let others come. Otherwise, there will be no space in our houses for newborns. Nature is the truth. Is there any story other than the nature? In fact, there is no story. There is no point in living in the illusion. Daydreaming in the illusion. It is like thinking about a non existent rainbow. It is all right to see the rainbow and enjoy it, but we should not cry and ask to possess the rainbow. We should not try to claim ownership of the rainbow. We know the fact that we can never get a rainbow. In similar manner, we should not try to possess or claim ownership of this illusionary world. On the other hand, to claim ownership, there is nobody here. What is needed to be done is simply see the rainbow and its beauty and be happy. Similarly, see the beauty of rain and be happy. See the wind and be happy. Try to be happy in all circumstances, no matter what comes on the way, whether it is flood waters, sorrow, or an overflowing river. Even if your last breath is about to go, be happy. This packet of flesh of bones is like the soil of the earth. There is nobody here. There is no individual self. How wonderful, how blissful it is if you can see and abide by that there is no world, nobody. It is simply the happenings in nature, nothing apart from nature. Then you will be ever blissful. This peace and bliss can be achieved only through the understanding of Dhamma. No one can reach this state without seeing how the sense of individuality and the world come into seeming existence. That is, out of dukkha or suffering will not happen. Until such recognition of truth happens, all are in dukkha. If you want to get out of this fire of dukkha, you should understand and recognize the truth through Buddhist philosophy. All beings end suffering by knowing the truth. How beautiful is if all human beings could recognize the truth. We do not think anyone in the Buddha's path fall into lower worlds or has dukkha even at this moment. When you go in this spiritual path, everything goes on as usual. Sometimes you forget things. You feel you are slow at work, less interested in worldly things, and not too serious about worldly affairs. These are natural at the beginning because you have started going against the natural flow of ignorant life. These types of changes are noticed at the beginning, but slowly all become normal. The reason for this is your attachment to the world is slowly fading away. Earlier, we behaved as a slave to our minds. We are adamant about doership and achieving results and targets. Things needed to happen our way. We have deeply dwelt on this world. This is the natural tendency of an ordinary householder. However, when you are on the spiritual path, you feel the kind of freedom and lightness, and you are not much agitated within. You feel you are not too attached to worldly things, not excessively dwelling on worldly objects. You will notice these kinds of changes in small day to day matters initially. With, with time, it becomes normal. You still do day to day things, but you have fewer worries and anxiety whether you do things or not. You will realize that slowly the tendency to dwell on worldly matters and attachments will fade away. This is a kind of stabilization in your life. This is a kind of balancing of your life. When you move along the Buddha's path, you will naturally awaken to Siddhi, that is, be aware of whatever you do, whatever you think, and whatever happening around you. Eventually, your life becomes completely natural. This is not thinking. If you dwell too much on thinking, then you will notice forgetfulness, less interest, slowness. You may check yourself if there is any grasping and attachment happening. This is the contemplative process. This is called Savitaka Savichar. When you progress along the path, it will become Avitakka. This is not a state of thinking or contemplation, but it is a kind of natural state. Contemplation or reflection is a thinking process. It is only when at the thinking level such apparent drawbacks that we mentioned earlier are seen. So, mind is a bundle of habits. We talk, we brush our teeth, we comb our hair. It is all habitually done. All these kinds of habitual patterns will continue. It is not an issue at all in the past. Nothing will change. Even you do not notice of such activities are happening. So when you advance along the path, even when you think, you are aware of it. When you do activities, you are aware of those. If you are unattached to things, you are aware of those. If you have been involved in any thought or not, there also you have an awareness of it. That is, you have awakened to Siddhi. Gradually, your Siddhi sharpens, clarity happens. Then you can do any activity much better with Siddhi. Only at the initial stages you will notice such changes as we explained earlier. It is like the sugar has not fully dissolved in a tea yet. You have not reached the avitaka state. This is the manasikaroti swabhava. That is the state of mind who is on the path, margasita. In other words, this is the state of the yoga. Once you reach the avitaka state, you become established on the Buddha's path and all will disappear. When on the spiritual path, some people will feel disgusted with the world. Some seek solitude. Here we should understand that solitude and nibbida are two different conditions. Solitude is not the condition of nibbida. Nibbida is the condition that you are not affected by any sensory sparks. The condition of nibbida is it is a feeling of indifference. You are not thrilled with anything. In the household life, we seek tasty food, beautiful clothes, look for festivals like the New Year. In Nipida state, we are unconcerned about whether there is tasty food or not, whether festivals are there or not, and whether good clothes are there or not. You become disinterested in worldly things. You do not you do not have a thrill through worldly activities. Solitude is a supreme state where there is lightness, freedom, peace, and bliss. You should clearly understand that nibbida and solitude are two different conditions. You will know these things through the Sihir. In Sabbasava Sutra, no ajata, no ajat, ajat bahit. No ajanato, no apasato. If one does not know the basic of Buddhist philosophy, Sabbasava Sutra does not make any sense. Lord Buddha advises practice only for those who have understood the key teachings. That is when you have the understanding of the fundamental truth, Satyajnana. Then only practice is to be done, Krutyajnana. This is where all defilements, kills, begin to diminish. It is not good enough intellectually to know them, but it should be seen through one's own and become a living truth. We should know that in Buddha's path there is no doing. It is the path of wisdom, path of non-doing, the path of dhyana. There is nothing to be done. If one says, I will do, then we notice that he has picked up the wrong side of the teaching. Buddha's path is the path of inquiry, the inquiry by the keen intellect. This is the jnana marga, dhyana marga. That is yoniso manasikara. What should happen here is the continuous remembrance and contemplation of the teaching that you have heard and learned from the spiritual teacher during day-to-day activities. This is wisdom. This is called the awakening of the spiritual eye or Dhamma Chakushe. We should understand what is meant by doing here. If you say you are doing, that means you use thoughts for doing. For any intentional doing, thoughts are essential. This is not the thing we are talking about here. This is happening internally within you with your spiritual progression. This is the opening of wisdom. This is the way of we can this is the way we can explain. So what we do in this path? It is only listening to Dhamma and Tonaso Mansikara. Buddha's path is not action oriented. Any action is done by using the hands, body, and mind. Here we do not do such. Then what are we doing? Is the Sihi a doing? Is being aware a doing? All of these are seen by Sihi, by keen attentiveness. All defilements or impurities within are seen by Sihi. The path that listens of all kills is the path of Arahant. It is not the path we are following. Is this the path of doing or a path of being in awareness? This is the path of being aware. It is correct to say this is happening rather than doing. In reality, it is happening, not doing. When you truly understand Buddha's pointing, it happens without doership. When you clearly understand Dhamma, detachment happens by itself. Or do you do detachment? It happens naturally. Is it not? This talking is also happening, not anybody doing. This is the wonder. To grasp this, we need our own experiences. These are the experiences that should come through a deep understanding of Dhamma and seen in your day-to-day activities. These come naturally when you progress towards complete realization. So this is why Lord Buddha said, there are no ready-made drafts. You have to make your own draft to sail through. You cannot sail through someone else's draft. This draft we refer to here is not a thing. It is your path of travel with full awareness at your own space. Now you will notice even you stuttering mind by here. If your mind dwells on worldly things, you are aware of such. Gradually, clarity develops with being aware. If you have developed here, you will not run after your thoughts. You will not become a slave to your mind. In the Japanese Sutra, 6 senses equate to 6 animals. One time, eye pulls you away. Another time, ear pulls you. And on another occasion, the tongue will take you away. If you are not aware, you will run after each sensory senses. This is the nature of ordinary householders. That is why we need to be in siya or awareness. So your attentiveness to siya grows only through your understanding of Dhamma. Understanding happens through listening to Dhamma regularly. That is why Lord Buddha said the existence of sasana totally depends on the spiritual teacher or the Kalyana Mitra. Durlabam manusattam, durlabam saddam mansavana, durlabam shana sampatti. It is very rare to have a human birth. It is very rare to have the opportunity to listen to the truth Dhamma. And it is very rare to see the truth at this moment. What is highlighted here is the importance of spiritual teacher, Kalyana Mitra, and opportunity for listening to them. So if we do not get a human birth, we will not be able to hear the truth. If Lord Buddha had not expounded the truth, there is no chance to hear such. Even having a human birth, if we do not listen to the truth, we miss the given opportunity to know the truth. Seeing the truth is very, very rare. Seeing the truth at this very moment is darshana sampatti. Though we say in words, see the truth, you cannot see the truth at this moment. It is happening. You may be surprised when you hear these words. If you try hard to see the truth, then you are grasping upadana. It is a trap. There is a spiritual secret behind it. There is a very important point that cannot be explained. It is not easily recognized without the guidance of our spiritual teacher, Kalyana Mitra and Manas. Being aware of the thought stream and contemplating of thoughts are two different things. If you contemplate on thoughts, unknowingly you start dwelling on thoughts. This is grasping our upadana. When you progress along this path, you may notice that things will happen without doership, and you are simply observing the actions. This is kind of wakefulness arising within. This is the dawn of wisdom or dhyan. This path seems difficult initially and needs sharp intellect to see through. There are many traps a spiritual seeker could fall into. That is why guidance from a spiritual teacher is required. So, moment to moment, thoughts appear and disappear. Thoughts are the desires of sparks happening through the six senses. In fact, it is due to the tremendous sparking speed of sensory perceptions. Sparking happens through eye, ear, nose, tongue, and skin. Once a thought appears, naturally, we get the feeling that it is represents something. At the same time, we get the feeling of living I. We feel an existing individual or living entity. This is the Atma Swabhavya, Atma Bhavya. All thoughts that appear and disappear gives rise to a sense of feeling of existing I, the Atma Bhavya. With the sense of I, we feel we are living. We do actions and we think. This is a natural process. The sense of existing I, living I, thinking I is a delusion, a false belief, false identification due to ignorance. From moment to moment, we get different impulses. Sometimes we are sorrowful, sometimes we are happy. We are oscillating between pain and pleasure all the time. This oscillation of mental status depends on the degree of attachment, aversion, and ignorance that each has. What are these raga, dvesha, moha? These are actually thought forms, in other words, impulses. We feel the effects of this raga, dvesha, and moha very clearly. Why we are sorrowful, why we are happy, why we are subjected to such impulses. We are oscillating between our own thought patterns. One time, your home comes to your mind. Another time, a temple comes to your mind. Another time, a person that you met yesterday comes into your mind. Sometimes you just keep thinking about the past and future. In this manner, we are subjected to train of thoughts. We are getting impulses through different thought patterns. We feel we are living. We have a feeling of a living entity here. The sense of living entity or sense of individuality or me is called bhavya. In this manner, bhavya is created each moment. The creation of bhavya, moment to moment, is called pono bhavika. In other words, repeated thought patterns generate the power to sustain the sense of a living entity. The I-ness sense of I is like a whirlpool. It has its own pulling power. It gives a sense of doership. It gives a sense of existing entity, a living entity. I exist. This is me. I am living. It binds us. It keeps us in samsara. In reality, there is no such living entity or I. It is just a process, just a functioning, just a happening. I, as a separate entity, is a wrong identification due to ignorance. I sense is simply a thought. In order to further explain this, we say a thought cannot eat, a thought cannot drink, a thought has never walked, a thought has never sat, thought has done nothing. However, thoughts gives us a feeling of sense that I exist, I eat, I walk, I sit. Where is this I? Where is this thought? Who is the I? Is this form body? Is the body I? Is the sound I? Is the name I? Then who is this I? Can you find any entity called I here? No, there is nobody, no entity. Then why do we feel this I-ness existing, living? So we should catch this I feeling or sense of I by being aware. That is, we have to be in here. We should catch this I feeling or I-ness whenever it raises its head. This non-existent ghost-like I-ness or sense of individuality needs to be caught and questioned. By being aware, being in here, you should be able to identify and catch this non-existent separate entity feeling or this I feeling is due to our ignorance, not knowing the truth behind the thoughts. When caught and questioned, you will notice it does not actually exist. We have to catch this I whenever it raises its head, just like cutting a stack of paddy, harvest with the sickle. We have to catch and drop our ignorance of being separate entity. For this, we need wisdom. We should see the truth through the wisdom. This will happen only when we know the Buddhist philosophy and we see the reality of thoughts in day-to-day experiences. Those who know the Buddhist philosophy and who see it in practical life can be free from this ocean of ignorance. Otherwise, it is impossible to be free from the ignorance. Fading away of defilements happens only when you know the philosophy and you try to see it in your practical life. Otherwise, knowing philosophy is just bookish knowledge. The way to freedom is solely on wisdom through the right view or samadhi. You should attempt to see the nature of thoughts from moment to moment in your practical life. This is the way to freedom. So, what is an illusion? It has no real existence but appears to exist. For an illusion to happen, a number of conditions to be satisfied. For example, a rainbow. Was there anybody to get diluted? No, there is nobody. Then who got diluted? When a little baby is adopted in America, he says, mother to that color and form appearing to him over there. If the baby is taken to China, he says, mother to different color and form. To this baby child, the mother is born through his seeing and hearing. That is through the eye and the ear. To this child, he himself was born through his eye and ear. The eye and ear here mean the activity of seeing and hearing. The binding of color and sound together creates seeming objects or the world. So the mother is born through the eye and ear. If we ask the child, where is your mother in his language? He replies, there is my mother. That is my mother. Language does not matter, only mental projection that relates to sounds matter. There is an immense illusion happening here. Are we saying the child got deluded because she is not his actual mother? No, she is his mother to him. Here we must know the truth behind how the mother is born or created by the child. Lord Buddha says the birth of the eye is the birth. Is there anything or any object called a mother? Here the great mistake is taking the mother to be existing object or a thing outside. The untruth here is the projection, the mental projection of an existing thing or object outside. It is a mental fabrication, a falsehood. It is not a matter of his mother, is not the actual mother and the other being the actual mother. Even if he says that mother is the actual mother, even this is the untruth. Why is it so? This is due to the abhisankarana, recurring thoughts create seeming objects or things because of ignorance. It adds value and seeming reality as well. This is called abhisankarana. So this phenomena occurs due to tremendous sparking speed of sensory inputs. This is the nature. This is a natural phenomena. If one tries to change, then it will be a disaster. Nature cannot be changed. Even if a wave wants to change the ocean, the wave cannot do anything. No matter how hard a wave tries to become a very high wave, it cannot become separated from the ocean. So, does the birth happen from the womb of a mother? Inquire this, question this by using wisdom. This is why Lord Buddha explained in detail in Jati Dhamma Sutra, Vata Sutra, that no pregnant woman gives birth to any child. But household people cannot believe this. How could we believe this? Is something gone wrong with Lord Buddha to say so? No, there is no mistake with Lord Buddha saying. The fact is that we are not spiritually mature enough to grasp the point in that Lord Buddha is making. We need subtle and keen intellect and an understanding of Buddhist philosophy to get the meaning. We must see this through wisdom. What we need is to come out of deep ignorance. We need to recognize key, the key teachings of Lord Buddha. So, mother is born through the eye and the ear. This is the momentary projection of creation from sparks through the eye, ear, nose, tongue, skin, and mind. If you see this truth, you can spend the whole day with this contemplation. If we could see this truth from moment to moment, we will be actually at peace, a great relief. Then we are seeing only the truth each moment, seeing only the truth. So I think it is enough for today. Arana answer, Teruvan Sarnai, do you want to add something? Teruvan Sarnai, everyone.
තෙරුවන් සරණයි මෙහෙන් වහන්ස.
තෙරුවන් සරණයි. Arana not joined the session, so our time is past now.
Yes. Okay, we will conclude for today.
Okay. Teruvan Saranai.
තෙරුවන් සරණයි.